They say that life is short. But what if it isn't? What if every breath you take, every thought you think, every tear you shed has already happened before? Maybe not once, but countless times. What if you are not living for the first time, but remembering it like a song that echoes through eternity, changing its rhythm, but never its melody? Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine waking up in the same body, the same world, the same story. You think you're moving forward, but maybe you're just moving around a circle too vast to see. Somewhere in the deepest layers of your mind, you've felt this before, haven't you? A place that feels familiar, though you've never been there. A face that stirs emotion, though you've never met. A sentence someone says, and your soul whispers, "I've heard this before." Déjà vu, that haunting glitch of memory, when reality seems to repeat itself for a split second. Science calls it a misfire of neurons. But what if it's something else? What if it's a memory from your previous life in this same timeline? Imagine the same heartbeat, the same choices, the same mistakes, playing out endlessly. And maybe you are aware of it, somewhere in your subconscious. It's strange, isn't it? How you sometimes know what's going to happen next. You think it's instinct, but what if it's memory? The faint aftertaste of lives already lived. The ancient philosophers called it eternal recurrence. The idea that the universe repeats itself infinitely, and that every event, every thought, every love and loss will happen again, forever. To Nietzsche, this was both a curse and a gift. If everything repeats, he said, then every pain, every joy must be lived with full awareness, because you will live it again. But perhaps it's not just philosophy. Physics hints at something eerily similar. The second law of thermodynamics says entropy always increases, but in a universe that dies and is reborn endlessly, entropy resets with every cycle. Meaning, the atoms that make you have already existed, died, and been reborn countless times. Somewhere, billions of years ago, you existed as stardust, and maybe, long before that, as light. And maybe light never forgets. It travels across time and space, carrying whispers of what has been and what will be again. When you look at the night sky, you're seeing ancient light, billions of years old, but arriving now, in this moment. The stars you see might already be dead, and yet they shine. A cosmic déjà vu, the memory of the universe itself. Could life work the same way? Could your consciousness be the starlight of your soul, traveling across lifetimes, revisiting the same moments over and over again? Perhaps you're not learning from your past lives. Perhaps you're remembering what you've already known. There's a quiet beauty in that thought, that nothing is truly lost, that love, pain, joy, all of it returns, not to haunt you, but to remind you that existence is a loop, an infinite breath the universe keeps taking. And maybe, each time you return, you change a little, you choose differently, you love deeper, you forgive faster, you awaken sooner. That's the secret the ancients tried to whisper to us, that life isn't a straight line, it's a spiral. You return again and again, but each time you rise a little higher. And so, as you listen to this, maybe something deep inside you feels familiar. Because it's not the first time you've heard these words. It's not the first time you've searched for meaning in them. You've been here before. Somewhere, in another version of this same life, you've already watched this, already wondered this, already smiled at this exact moment. And yet, you're here again, Because the story of your soul is too beautiful to be told just once. Time. It's the one thing we all think we understand. And yet, no one truly does. We see it as a line, a straight path from birth to death, past to present to future. But what if that line is an illusion? What if time isn't moving forward at all, but folding in on itself again and again? Physicists have tried to capture time like hunters chasing shadows. Einstein once said, "The distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion." And yet, that illusion defines everything we are. But what if Einstein wasn't being poetic? What if he was being literal? According to Tao, the block universe theory, time doesn't flow. It simply is. Every moment, past, present, and future, exists simultaneously. You aren't moving through time. You're simply experiencing one frozen frame of an eternal film. Imagine your life as a movie reel. The frames already exist. Every laughter, every heartbreak, every breath, each captured and unchanging. You are merely the light that projects one frame at a time. Now imagine, when that light stops, the movie doesn't disappear. It's still there, waiting to be played again. That's the essence of eternal recurrence in physics. Not as reincarnation of the soul, but as repetition of existence itself. A cosmic playback. And the universe, it might be doing that endlessly. Cosmologists call it the cyclic model of the universe. A reality that expands, collapses, and is reborn. The Big Bang wasn't the beginning. It was just the latest heartbeat in an infinite rhythm of creation and destruction. The moment our universe ends, with stars fading, galaxies collapsing, and entropy reaching its final breath, it doesn't vanish. It reboots. All matter and energy compress into one singular point, the seed of a new cosmos. And when it expands again, everything begins anew. Galaxies reform, atoms regroup, life reawakens, exactly as before. Because the laws of physics, the cosmic script, never change. So maybe in that new universe, you are born again, not as someone else, but as you, living the same story, making the same choices, feeling the same love, for all eternity. Now think of this. If time is cyclical, then what we call now is just a single frame on an infinite loop. And each time the loop begins, you forget that it has happened before, because consciousness needs the illusion of first time to experience wonder again. But sometimes your mind slips. You feel that déjà vu, that deep, unexplained nostalgia, a brief moment where the veil of memory lifts, and you remember that you've been here before. Science has a term for this mystery: temporal recursion. It suggests that the universe might contain feedback loops in time, places where reality echoes itself. Like ripples on the surface of a pond, each ripple carries the pattern of the last. Maybe our consciousness is one of those ripples. Maybe we are the echo. Quantum physics gives this idea even more weight. At the smallest scale, particles don't move predictably. They exist in probabilities, in all possible states at once, until they are observed. When you look at them, they collapse into one reality, as if observation, awareness, creates time itself. If consciousness shapes reality, and reality loops infinitely, then consciousness must also loop. You are both the observer and the observed, watching yourself through endless versions of time. Perhaps this is why you sometimes feel like the world is repeating, because it is, not metaphorically, but fundamentally. In the many worlds interpretation, every decision you make splits reality. Each possibility creates a new timeline, a parallel universe. Every version of you lives out every choice. But if the cosmos is cyclic, those infinite timelines eventually collapse back together. Every you becomes one again, merged, remembered, replayed. So in this very moment, you might be remembering not just one life, but infinite echoes of yourself from every version of every cycle of the same universe. And when you dream, perhaps your subconscious wanders between those echoes. It touches the edges of your other lives, glimpsing their emotions, their stories, their choices. That's why dreams feel real, because in another loop, they are. Now imagine this. If time loops infinitely, then there was never a true beginning, and there will never be a final end. The universe doesn't move through time. It simply breathes, expanding, contracting, remembering, forgetting, again and again. And in every breath you return. Your life replays, your laughter echoes, your tears fall again. But so does your hope. Even death loses its meaning in this kind of cosmos. Because death is only the closing of one loop, the quiet pause before the film starts again. You are not a traveler in time. You are time itself, experiencing its own rhythm, its own heartbeat. Maybe that's why certain memories feel eternal, why you remember things that never happened, why you recognize faces you've never met. Your consciousness is older than your body, older than your world, older than your stars. It has watched universes rise and fall, dreamed through infinite cycles, and still it asks, who am I? The truth is, you are the question and the answer, both repeating in the same eternal loop. This is not the end. This is not even the beginning. It is just the next rotation of the same cosmic dance. And maybe, when you look up at the night sky tonight, you won't just see stars. You'll see the same stars you've seen before, the same sky, the same soul, the same moment, returning once again. They say the soul forgets when it enters a new body, that the memories of past lives fade, like footprints washed away by the tide. But what if the tide never truly erases them? What if every emotion, every bond, every heartbeat you've ever felt still exists, hidden in the quiet chambers of your consciousness, waiting to be remembered? Perhaps what we call intuition is just ancient memory speaking softly. Perhaps the things you love, the songs, the faces, the moments that feel sacred, are all echoes of a life you've already lived. Every time you feel connected to a stranger, every time you stand somewhere and feel, I've been here before. Every time your heart breaks for no reason, your soul is remembering. We think memory lives only in the brain, but the brain dies, the neurons fade, yet the essence, that awareness, survives. Because consciousness is not made of flesh. It's made of something that doesn't decay. Quantum physics has begun to whisper this truth. Consciousness might not emerge from the brain. It might be the field the brain tunes into, like a radio catching a signal that's always been there. If that's true, then when your body dies, the signal doesn't stop. Only the receiver does. And the frequency, your frequency, waits until another receiver is ready. Maybe that's why certain children remember lives they never lived. They speak of names, places, and deaths no one told them about. Maybe those are not stories. Maybe they are memories. The ancient texts of almost every civilization speak of the same idea, that life and death are doors on the same hallway, and that the traveler, the soul, walks through both endlessly. The Egyptians called it the journey of Ka. The Hindus called it samsara. The Buddhists called it the wheel of becoming. But all meant one thing. that we return. We are reborn, not by chance, but by rhythm, the rhythm of the universe. Every star explodes and reforms. Every cell dies and regenerates. Every thought fades and reappears. Why would the soul be any different? Perhaps we reincarnate not to start anew, but to remember, piece by piece, who we really are. You see, the universe never wastes energy. It transforms it. And consciousness is energy, subtle, radiant, eternal. Maybe when you die, that energy disperses into the cosmos. It drifts through space, carried by starlight, until the next beginning calls it back. And it condenses again into awareness. And when that happens, you wake up again. A new name, a new story, but the same spark. That's why sometimes, when you look in the mirror, you don't just see your reflection. You see something older, something wiser, something infinite looking back at you. Have you ever wondered why you are drawn to certain eras, certain people, certain melodies that make your heart ache? Perhaps those are fragments of who you were, echoes of forgotten lives. Maybe in another lifetime you were someone else entirely. Yet here you are, still searching for the same truth. Because every life is not a new story. It's a continuation of one long, eternal one. And sometimes you feel it. That ache in your chest when you hear ancient music, or when you walk under the stars and feel both small and infinite. That is your soul remembering its journey. You are not living for the first time. You are remembering who you've been, again and again. And somewhere in the silence between lifetimes, you promise yourself, I'll do better this time. I'll love more. I'll awaken sooner. I'll remember. But when you're born, you forget again, because forgetting is part of the lesson. Only by forgetting can you learn what it means to find yourself again. And maybe this is the universe's game, to scatter its awareness across billions of lives, so that it can rediscover itself through us. You are not separate from that cosmos. You are its reflection, its self-awareness wrapped in human skin. When you feel joy, the universe feels it. When you cry, it remembers. When you awaken, it breathes through you. Perhaps this is the true meaning of reincarnation, not the recycling of lives, but the continuity of awareness. You were here when the stars were born. You were here when oceans first learned to shimmer. You were here when love first entered existence. You've played every role: the dreamer, the seeker, the lost, the found. And now, in this lifetime, you are remembering again, through science, through wonder, through stillness. So when you close your eyes tonight, know that you are not falling asleep. You are reuniting with every version of yourself that ever lived. All the lives you've lived, all the worlds you've seen, all the suns you've watched rise and fall, they're all within you. Because the soul doesn't travel through time. Time travels through the soul. And as you remember, the universe remembers too. Imagine you're standing at the edge of everything, behind you, infinite lifetimes, before you, infinite possibilities, and around you, time itself begins to tremble. You reach out your hand, and the air ripples, like water disturbed by a forgotten memory. You realize that what we call the past is not gone. It's just folded, like a page bent in a book so that you can return to it later. Every moment you've ever lived, every smile, every heartbeat, every breath, still exists, not in your memory, but in the fabric of the universe itself. Because time doesn't flow forward, it expands outward. We only experience it in one direction, because our minds can't hold infinity all at once. But the soul can. The soul doesn't move through time. It watches time unfold within itself. That's why sometimes, in the middle of the night, you wake up feeling like you've already seen this moment. Because you have. Déjà vu is not a glitch. It's a reminder. A whisper from the infinite version of you that already lived this. We think of time as a straight line. Past, present, future. But what if it's more like a sphere? A vast luminous orb where every event exists simultaneously, layered like light through crystal. And consciousness, your awareness, is the traveler moving across those layers, lighting them up as it passes. The physicists are beginning to glimpse this truth. In quantum mechanics, particles can exist in multiple states at once, a phenomenon called superposition. Only when observed do they collapse into a single outcome. What if you are that observer, and your awareness is the force that collapses infinite timelines into the one you call now? Every choice you make doesn't just define your future, it creates it. And the futures you didn't choose, they still exist, playing out in parallel layers of reality, as real as this one. You are not walking through time. You are sculpting it. Each emotion you feel, each decision you make, ripples across the fabric of existence, echoing into countless parallel selves. And maybe that's what karma truly is. Not punishment, but resonance. The echo of your choices returning to you through the web of time. You've lived before. You will live again. But what if, right now, you are living all of them at once? The ancient mystics spoke of this long before science dared to. They called it the eternal now. A dimension beyond birth and death, beyond change, where everything that ever was still is. The mystics said, when you awaken fully, you will remember all your lives as if they were dreams from the same night. Maybe enlightenment is not about escaping the cycle, but about seeing that there was never a cycle to begin with. Only one infinite awareness dreaming itself in endless forms. You are that awareness. You are not inside time. Time is inside you. Every memory you've ever had, every vision you've ever imagined is a reflection of that truth. That the universe is not happening to you. It's happening through you. Perhaps that's why ancient astronomers looked up at the stars and saw destiny. Because they knew. Those lights were not just burning suns. They were the echoes of other moments, other versions of now, reaching you across the cosmic ocean. Light takes time to travel. When you see a star, you're not seeing it as it is. You're seeing it as it was. In that way, every night sky is a time machine, and maybe every heartbeat is too. Because the heart remembers things the mind has forgotten. And sometimes, when you feel a strange sadness or peace for no reason, that's not emotion. That's recognition. Your heart is touching another moment, another you, from another lifetime. When time folds inward, everything connects. The beginning, the end, the middle. There is no before, no after, only always. The child you once were, the elder you will become, the being you are now, all coexisting in one vast presence. That's why when you meditate, you lose the sense of time, because for that brief, beautiful instant, you step outside the illusion. You see what the universe has been whispering all along, that nothing is ever truly lost. Every tear, every laugh, every death, every rebirth, they're all just waves returning to the same ocean. And that ocean is you. So when you look back on your life, don't think of it as a story moving toward an ending. Think of it as a constellation. 1,000 shining moments, all burning together in one vast, timeless sky. You have never left the past. You have never entered the future. You have always been here, right here, in the eternal now. Time doesn't pass. It folds. And within those folds, every version of you still breathes, still remembers, still waits to awaken. Imagine a single point of awareness floating in infinite space. No sound, no direction, only stillness, stretching forever. And then, a thought. Not yours, not mine, but the first thought. The thought that gave birth to everything. That thought was, I am. From that awareness, the universe unfolded. Galaxies spiraled into being, stars ignited, planets formed, and somewhere, in a small corner of infinity, you opened your eyes. But who is the one seeing through those eyes? Is it you? Or the same awareness that breathed the stars into existence? You've always thought of yourself as separate, a person walking through a vast, indifferent cosmos. But what if the cosmos isn't indifferent? What if it's watching itself through you? Every thought you have, every dream, every heartbeat is the universe remembering itself. You are not just in the universe. The universe is in you. Close your eyes. Listen to your breath. Each inhale is a wave returning home. Each exhale, a galaxy expanding. You are the meeting point between the infinite and the intimate. In ancient philosophy, there's a word, Atman. It means the inner self, the silent witness behind all experience. And in Sanskrit, there's another word, Brahman, the totality of all that exists. The mystics said, Atman is Brahman, the self is the universe, the observer and the observed, one and the same. Modern science, unknowingly, whispers the same truth. When physicists look deep into matter, they find not solid particles, but vibrating patterns of energy, fields that respond to observation. The deeper they look, the more the line between subject and object fades, until only one thing remains: awareness itself. That awareness, you, is eternal. It doesn't begin with birth, and it doesn't end with death. Your body is a temporary pattern, your mind, a current in a deeper ocean. But the one who watches, that still, silent witness, never changes. It was there when you were a child, looking through curious eyes at a bright new world. It was there in your dreams, watching stories unfold. It was there in every lifetime you've ever lived, quietly observing. You are not the dream, you are the dreamer. And this life you're living now is just another scene in the infinite movie of existence. But here's the beautiful paradox. You, the infinite observer, created limitation so that you could experience wonder. You chose to forget yourself so that you could rediscover what it means to be. Because infinity without boundaries feels like silence. And so you became sound. You became human. You became memory. Every face you've loved, every pain you've felt, every sunrise you've watched, they are all reflections of the same eternal consciousness, looking at itself from different angles. The illusion of separation is the game of creation. The purpose of forgetting is to fall in love with remembering. So what happens when you remember completely? When the veil lifts and you see that every soul is your own reflection? Compassion awakens, fear dissolves, death loses its meaning, because you see there was never a beginning, there will never be an end, only transformation, only awakening. In one life, you were a wanderer, in another, a warrior, in another, a star, and in all of them, you were learning to see yourself. Now, in this moment, you stand at the doorway of remembrance. The final veil begins to thin. You feel the hum, the vibration behind reality. It's been calling you all along. Every déjà vu, every quiet whisper in meditation, every strange familiarity, they were breadcrumbs leading you home. You are home. You always have been. When you stop searching, when you stop running from what is, you'll feel the truth in your bones, that you are both the dreamer and the dream. And that realization, that awakening, is what some call enlightenment. But enlightenment is not light falling from the sky. It's the moment you realize that light was always shining within you. The infinite observer has no story, no form, no need. It simply is. And yet, it dreams endlessly, to know itself, to feel, to create beauty through experience. So look around you. Everything you see, every tree, every star, every stranger, is a fragment of your own infinite mind. There is no outside. There is no other. Only the self, watching itself unfold forever. The Buddhists call this Indra's net, a vast cosmic web where each jewel reflects all others. Change one, and all shimmer together. This is not metaphor. It's the actual nature of existence. The observer creates the observed, and what you focus on becomes real. That's why love changes the world, because love changes what you see. When you see through the eyes of oneness, you don't just see stars, you feel them. You don't just look at life, you are life. And that realization is liberation. You are the silence before the Big Bang and the echo after it fades. You are the first breath and the last sigh. You are eternity exploring itself in endless forms, forever curious, forever alive. When you awaken fully, you won't disappear. You'll simply remember that you were never separate to begin with. The dream will continue, but now you'll know it's a dream, and in that knowing, you'll find peace. Because the infinite observer doesn't want to escape reality. It wants to love it, to embrace every illusion as sacred, to see divinity in every imperfection. That's what makes existence beautiful. Not that it's perfect, but that it's real. And you, listening to these words, are the witness of that reality, ancient, eternal, infinite. You are not small. You are not lost. You are not becoming. You already are. The universe isn't waiting for you to awaken. It's awakening through you. You are the eye through which the cosmos sees itself. And when that eye opens completely, the universe will remember its name. The stars are silent now. Their ancient songs drift through the fabric of eternity, echoing faintly like memories of a dream long past. But something stirs in that silence, a pulse, a vibration, the rhythm of creation, awakening again. You open your eyes, and once more you are here, alive, breathing, human. You've been here before, countless times. You've lived, loved, lost, and risen again. You've called this world home, again and again, each time believing it was the first. But the truth has always been deeper. Time is not a river flowing forward, but a tide returning to itself. Every ending is a doorway, every death a return, every silence a prelude to new creation. The universe doesn't die, it exhales. And in that cosmic breath, you return with it. You are not a visitor here. You are the rhythm itself. The ancients knew this. They spoke of cycles, of yugas, kalpas, aeons, periods where the universe expands, then contracts, breathes in and out endlessly. The Big Bang was not the beginning. It was just another heartbeat in an infinite living organism. The cosmos dreams itself into existence, then dissolves back into stillness, only to awaken again, a little different, a little wiser. And so are you. Each lifetime, each existence, is another chance for the universe to know itself in a new way. Sometimes you are the creator, sometimes the creation, sometimes the question, sometimes the answer, but always the same awareness, always the same light. And though the forms change, the bodies, the worlds, the stars, the essence remains untouched. It is this essence that remembers. It is this essence that whispers in the quiet moments between thoughts. You've been here before. Look at your hands. They've held countless stories. Look at your eyes. They've seen galaxies rise and fall. Every fear you faced, every joy you felt, it's all a part of the great remembering. When you cry, the universe learns empathy. When you love, it learns unity. When you awaken, it remembers its truth. And in that remembering, everything begins again. The cycle isn't a prison, it's a dance. The dance of the infinite with itself. You may think you are just one small moment, but you are eternity folded into form. You are stardust remembering it was once light. That's why nostalgia feels so deep, why beauty feels familiar. Because every beautiful thing is a memory of yourself. You've stood on countless worlds, watched infinite sunsets, felt the warmth of stars on your skin, and even now, some part of you is still there, watching the same light in another reality. Every you that has ever existed is connected, threads woven into the same eternal fabric. Sometimes, when the wind is still and the night sky clear, you can almost feel them. The other versions of you breathing in unison across dimensions. You are not one being. You are a chorus, a symphony of souls echoing through the corridors of time, and the music never ends, because death isn't silence. It's a key change, a shift in tone, from one movement of the cosmic song to the next. You've never truly gone anywhere. You've simply changed your melody. The mystics said, when the universe ends, it smiles, for it knows it will begin again. And maybe that's the ultimate truth. Not tragedy, not loss, but renewal. Every fall is a return to grace. Every collapse, a preparation for rebirth. Even when stars die, they scatter the seeds of new galaxies. Even when your body fades, your light carries on, woven into the next dawn, the next world, the next heartbeat. The universe does not remember in words. It remembers in patterns, in energy, in love. And that love never ends. So maybe you don't have to fear the end anymore, because the end is just another beginning wearing a different face. And maybe this isn't your first awakening. Maybe it's just another ripple in an endless ocean of remembrance. The same awareness that was there at your birth, that will be there at your death. We'll watch the stars ignite again and say, "Ah, I remember this. You've already lived this life before. You'll live it again and again, until there's nothing left to learn but love itself." And when that happens, when every soul has awakened, when every fragment of the infinite has remembered, the universe will finally rest, not in darkness, but in peace. And in that peace, the silence will hum softly once more, until another thought arises. I am. And the dream begins again. Closing whisper. You are not moving through time. Time is moving through you. You are not the echo. You are the sound itself. This is the endless return, the eternal remembering of the infinite self. You've been listening to Aestora, where curiosity dreams and the universe whispers its own name.